Everybody, give it your all. I seem to have said that. No problem, I shouldn't be old enough to have Alzheimer's. Only about 3 years have passed since my reincarnation. No need to worry about that. That being said, seeing the scene reflected on the big screen, I began to wonder. Did I really say that? That's because the big screen has already shown our army's complete victory. Gupta was so cool that he didn't look like himself at all, running wildly across the battlefield, beating the magic tanks to a pulp. Since he had been assimilated with Ranga, he was worthy of the title of the 4 heavenly kings, in terms of appearance and strength. Gazel also had his own doorway, transforming into what looked to be a very powerful dragon monster, and also appearing to have an unusually high power mana attack that smashed the enemy's warship in one fell swoop. It wasn't just Gazel, all the members of the Flying Dragon congregation were transformed, and that was no joke. Although I discovered that the secret behind it was Dragon Warriorization, I didn't know when they started using it so easily. As far as results were concerned, the aerial warfare on the Empire's side had been destroyed by this time. One fell to the ground without being left behind. This became the beginning, and the Tempest army began to attack heavily. Gupta rendezvoused with the rest with Gazel, and whoever watched would have known that the battle was in our favor. It wasn't like the Empire just got pinned down and tried to fight back on several occasions. But it was only then that the counterattack began and was completely destroyed. It was Ultima's men, Varen and Zonda, who struck. These two were worthy of the ancient demons, and seemed to have enough vision to see who was the expert, not to distinguish between captains or ordinary soldiers, purely choosing only the strong ones for blood sacrifice. Hakuru was responsible for dealing with the enemy supply chain. No mercy at all, 1 cut, 2 cuts. Among them are others who are planning to put in their names. I'm number 97. Even without letting his opponent finish speaking, Hakuru's white blade flashed by, and his opponent followed with a splash of blood. Finally I looked away and decided to watch the battlefield from the sidelines. No plug is the right thing to do. Seriously, the Imperial soldiers that Varen, Zonda, and Hakuru packed away were already on par with the Paladins in terms of fighting ability, or had been. And they were tricky to arm, with a higher performance than the spirit armor, worn by the Paladins, the equivalent of legendary levels. Taken together, you'll find these people are stronger. Even I was surprised to hear the parsing results of Master Raphael, the King of Wisdom. We are at war. It's time to chill out and please try to hang in there until the end. There is one more point to consider, and that is whether the enemy has expressed surrender to us. While I was watching Hakuru and their combat situation and saw as if he was enthralled, the Imperial Army's Combat Operations Command appeared in an abnormal state. Notice. A mass annihilation magic death blessing has been confirmed. The user is the individual named Tensura. Hearing Master Raphael, the King of Wisdom, report this to me, I hurried to get the scene conditions projected on the big screen. The next thing you know, Tensura and Ultima are standing there with a smile on their faces. There are no other survivors. The remaining strength, nearly 1,000 vehicles, also ceased operations, and all the infantry that had been deployed around them fell. The number is probably in the tens of thousands. There was a talk about Death Blessing, which shows that it is very dangerous magic. Answer. The Death Blessing is a nuclear strike magic that emits a magical death ray that causes creatures to become extinct. There are additional effects. Although Master Raphael, the King of Wisdom, is happy to analyze and explain how can such dangerous magic be used, I almost called it out, but it's human nature. It is said that the nuclear explosion used by Ultima is called the Flame of Destruction, but the danger of Death Blessing is higher. Tensura should not be fighting them. When this magic is unleashed, victory and defeat are decided in an instant. There were absolutely no survivors on the enemy command side. It was only a matter of time before those remaining troops were eliminated. In this way, the battle between the Dwarf Kingdom and the Imperial Army ended in a complete victory for us. The Imperial Army that had been sent as bait to deceive was all but dead. As it literally means all gone. I'm afraid there's no other military explanation for this either. We've all been too messy. I didn't think I'd cause this by just asking people to give it their all. And Benamara had looked terrifying from just now. I say, if this turns out to be the case, doesn't my battle plan mean nothing? What is this? What are those intelligence officers up to? I've heard that they're under Lord Rimuru's direct command. May I ask you to clarify that? I just hit it a little in every way, but Benamara turned to me with a very big smile and said so. For help, I sneak a look at Valdor. He averted his eyes in a flash. I know that Valdor is particularly unreliable at times like these. So is Ramers, who didn't look like she was going to help me. It's nothing really, I told you that before. Those are the new companions Diablo poached. I know those are Diablo's men. It looks like there's no way to keep lying. There's nothing I can do. I'm going to be honest and give a full account of what happened. Actually, that's right. Do you know about the Primordials? You mean the original demons? It looked like Benimera didn't know, and Shuna, who was making coffee, interjected to pick up the conversation. You're talking about the 7 kings, the 7 monarchs, who are the origins of evil, right? Hearing everyone's previous conversation, I was curious and ran to investigate. I was surprised to learn that Mr. Diablo was one of them. The definition of a primordial is an original demon, and I didn't know there was such an exaggerated appellation in the original. Saying that, Shuna told the important secret, but she had a peaceful smile on her face. The aroma of coffee wafted through the control room, easing the tense air. Meaning? Benimera started muttering, looking puzzled. Geez, you don't know that, do you, brother? Not only Mr. Diablo, but even Miss Testarossa, Miss Carrere, and Sister Ultima seem to be primordials. Is that so? Yes. Shuna's smile was so dazzling. Faced with a smile like that, Benimera couldn't seem to ask any more questions either. Squinting my eyes at the silent Benimera, I began to think in my mind. Shuna is actually a big deal. Diablo, I'll let you speak for yourself. Yes, Lord Rimuru. Mr. Benimera, I am actually one of the primordials, just as I was introduced. As I listened to Diablo's explanation, I started to drink my coffee. So it is, I have understood. That's why they're so awesome, right? In that case, I wish you would have told me from the beginning. No, I was afraid you'd be scared when you found out. If it was me or Vildora it would be a different story, but I really don't want you Benimera to mess with anyone else's extra heart. I deliberately only emphasized this point because I was worried about my partner. As for the good things I do, giving them fleshly names, it's not appropriate at this point, so please don't go into it. I'm not scared either. Even Ramrus had said so, and I hope everyone didn't have any superfluous fears. Anyway, that's a lot of worry. As long as it's someone approved by Lord Rimuru, I will accept it as a partner. Well, Mr. Benimera is right. Our partners do not treat us differently because of our appearance or strength. Benimera wore a dark smile on his face, while Gazel took it for granted. Just like that, it blew my worries away. Shuna didn't seem to have a problem with Diablo either. The proof is that she still treats them as she always does, in a very general manner. That's good. It seems I'm the one who took the unnecessary heart. Hahaha, you should trust us more. That's it. It's too late for us to be thankful when we say that Lord Rimuru was worried about us accepting Miss Carrere and a few of them into our army. It was a little sheepish, but it was great that Benimera and Gazel were willing to take them in. All in all, Diablo and I get along just fine. It should be alright. Xian jumped out to hang the reassurance, but I wasn't worried about how you were from the start. What does that mean, Xian? It means literally, Diablo. First Secretary Xian and Second Secretary Diablo began to glare at each other. I've heard that the other side is the primordial and thought it was serious, but it turned out to be okay. I think it would be bad if the enemy's army had Demon Lord level experts. That's why I arranged for Testarossa and the others to go there, but they seem to be trying too hard. Although the reason for this is my one sentence. I didn't expect people to make such a big deal out of it. Kufufufufu. The effort was surprisingly overdone, and it looked a bit overwhelming. I'll come back later to educate them. Seeing Diablo chuckle and say such things, I didn't forget to tell him to stop in moderation. Anyway, I'll leave the rest to Diablo. I am sure he will educate people well so that they will not overdo it in the future. Next comes the confirmation of our damage. Less than 2 hours had passed since the battle had begun, and it had come to a full end. It seems that a lot of people have been injured, and it is not known what the victimization is. As for the current situation, all the injured are said to have recovered. A bright voice sounded in the control room. For those of us who go out to fight, we all distribute our own high-grade recovery medicine. Everyone gets 10 each. Thanks to these medicines, most injuries seem to heal immediately. It can be said that under Benimera's command, they played the bait beautifully. Although many recovery potions were used in terms of results, the number of casualties was 0. We got the big, unexpected win. But not entirely free of damage. Let's change the subject and talk about what's going on over there in the Empire. Lieutenant General Geist's division of magic-guided tanks had 200,000 men under his command. There were 40,000 people in the Air Combat Flying Corps, led by Major General Faraga. Regarding the war power the Empire possesses in this regard, we have also confirmed it with Master Gadr. Answer. No captives were taken. Because everyone was killed in action. That adds up to about 240,000 people. It was a massacre. How could I not be heartbroken? But when I became the Demon Lord before, I had already killed 20,000 people with my own hands. I don't want to argue about it now. Not to mention that after killing about 240,000 Imperial Army soldiers, many souls seemed to have entered my body. It wasn't long after the war started that I felt the souls build up like crazy. That being said, there are so many human souls that have been acquired. To evolve from a Demon Lord seed to a true Demon Lord, 10,000 offerings are required to satisfy. So what happens when you come to about 240,000 souls? The answer is no change. That means that I've reached my evolutionary limit by awakening as the true demon lord, right? So to speak. If it wasn't for that, he would have been killing humans so wildly that they would perish by now, so let's take souls this way. Because intuition told him he would never evolve again, he didn't engage in needless killing. Didn't expect to receive unexpected news at this point. Notice. The number of souls acquired has exceeded the required number. At present, it is possible to awaken others who are connected through the soul corridor. The subordinates are. And so it was that Master Raphael, the King of Wisdom, uttered the unbearable words. It seems that if one quantifies the soul of those who are qualified, they may be able to awaken. I thought it would be meaningless to get so many souls, but even if it doesn't affect my own evolution, it can still be used for my subordinates to evolve. According to Master Raphael, the King of Wisdom, there are several people who seem to have met the conditions for awakening. By giving me the acquired souls, they will be able to awaken with a power as powerful as the true demon lords. In a word. Currently, I have an accumulation of extra souls in my body, about 250,000 or so. Using all that up should awaken 2 people. The subordinates who can be awakened are Ranga, Benimaru, Xian, Gabel, Geld, Diablo, Testarossa, Ultima, Carrera, Kumar, Zijin, and Adalman 12 of the above. Notice. Do you want to create soul corridors for your subordinates to evolve? Yes or no? According to this passage from Master Raphael, the King of Wisdom, it can be learned that even the other party can make it evolve even if it is far away. Just like Haldor, simply connect using the soul corridor, so that it is not limited by time and space. It's certainly a good thing that my ties with my partners have gotten stronger for this benefit. So what's next? I personally am becoming stronger than I was before the awakening, so much stronger that I can't say the same. The unique skill Great Sage has also evolved into the ultimate skill, Raphael the King of Wisdom. The phrase the genealogy of the soul is a cause for concern. I'm afraid it's the naming that connects the soul. Just naming a monster will allow it to evolve. Although I didn't even think much of it and messed with it, I now know that comes with a high degree of danger. It was because Master Raphael, the King of Wisdom, analyzed the security for me that I could safely name them. If the naming fails, there is a good chance that all of my power will be taken away, and I will die as a result. Even if I didn't fall this far, there was a chance that I wouldn't be able to regain my strength, and the whole person would become weak. Personally, I have a convenient skill, such as the stomach bag of Beelzebub, the King of Gluttony, to keep the excess mana created. If it's not enough, it seems like it's all on loan from Baldor, then it's all in the hands of Master Raphael, the King of Wisdom. Simply put, it's actually a foul play. Generally speaking, one has to use one's own magic element, and no one can simply name creatures, which is a matter of course. Even if it's gay, it's the same. So few people have subordinates where souls are connected to each other. Those partners are irreplaceable to me. If it was me, I wouldn't want to use my partner as an experiment. But Master Raphael, the King of Wisdom, recommended it all so that there should be no danger. No, it's the direction I want to think in. Yet there was a sense of overly dangerous foreboding. And I'm also struggling with who to choose. To evolve into a demon lord requires a dormancy to evolve. I'm not sure that's going to happen this time either, so I think it's best to be prepared to do it all over again. The most important thing is that the war is not over. The Empire's own army, which amounts to 700,000 troops, is invading our capital. It's best not to take any chances in such a crunch. So be it, my answer is no. Let's put this matter aside for now, when the dust of the war has settled.